Well, man, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Sorry for being late.
No worries, man. First world problems. It's all good. So we're in good shape. Well, let's begin our journey here with, I know we're all getting kind of fatigued talking about the pandemic and COVID, but
Mhm.
it was quite a thing 4.5 years ago for us to get through. So ultimately, in your line of work and in your life, how did you survive that time period and how did it change the way that you approach things now?
So we actually did really well during that time period. So while everybody else was floundering and businesses were closing, the fitness equipment industry was actually blossoming quite rapidly. So there were a lot of small mom and pop shops that got started during that time, including ours, and really just started out in in my shed and backyard. We took advantage of that because there was all of the gyms in the area were closing. And it didn't matter whether you were a big box commercial gym or a training studio, they were just not doing well. Personal trainers did really well and individual one-on-one stuff, but the gym industry in general, I mean, a lot of those big shops just closed down, and now we're seeing the resurgence. But I didn't realize how much of a demand there was for that equipment until I think I flipped my first squat rack for double what I paid just because I was trying to build my home gym. And I found out there was a market for this kind of stuff. But yeah, we actually did really well during the pandemic, and it actually kind of gave us, in some ways, some seed capital to get going with the rest of the business. What was the second part of your question?
No, that just kind of how it changed the way that you do things now.
So it evolved the bit that was playing it on easy essentially. So pandemic, I mean, you could pick up something that was rusted completely through, no matter what piece of equipment it was, and sell it for double whatever you picked up for. And that made it really easy. And if you got lazy, it was a free pass for you to bomb out on your business later. So what I had to do was pivot the business from mainly home gym sales to mostly commercial sales, which is kind of where we are now, selling commercial gym equipment. We'll sell it to homeowners and to commercial gyms, but that was the pivot that we made, and that helped us to stay in business because if we had just stuck with the home gym space, we would be out of business by now. There's plenty of other retailers, Walmart, Dick's Sporting Goods, Academy Sports and Outdoors, um, even some smaller like knockoff brands that are all over the internet and all over Amazon that are just taking over the home gym space and doing a really good job of it. Sometimes with more or less excellent quality, but we pivoted to commercial because that was where the business always was.
Yeah.
And when the gyms kind of resurged and started opening back up, and all the training studios went back to doing, smaller facilities, and they lost that business to the larger commercial facilities, we stepped in and started doing service and repair and install maintenance for the larger buildings and organizations. And we learned really fast that that's just where the market was. So we've always been, I want to say, on the bleeding edge, and it sounds like a brag, but we do things a lot differently on social media, and so we try to stay on top of trends and things that are going on in that space. And that was one of the things that helped us to survive, was making that pivot to the commercial space.
So let's get into the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis. And to do that, I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third graders at career day. And one of the kids is curious and says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" What's your
Yeah.
answer?
So we sell new and used gym equipment. So if you go into any gym in the country, uh, we sell everything you see, from the flooring to the strength equipment to the weights that are used. We sell new and we also sell used. That's the 50,000 foot view.
So, what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember. I probably wanted to be a firefighter like anybody else. I remember dressing up and doing that for a while.
Yeah.
Um, and then when I got older, I think I just wanted to do similar things to what my dad did. I really didn't have a whole heck of a lot of direction growing up in terms of my career path. And I probably, honestly, looking back on it, shouldn't have gone to college. I should have started this right out of the gate.
Yeah.
I had no business being in, I majored in econ and marketing and almost had a minor in English, but I used very little of that in the real world, and I would much rather have started, knowing what I know now, I would much rather have started this business. It's so much more fun and fulfilling than anything else I did.
So take me back to where you're born and raised. What were these foundational seeds that got into you to be an entrepreneur, to get into health and
Oh yeah,
fitness?
great question. So, my grandfather was an entrepreneur through and through. So he worked for the electrical company for, oh gosh, probably 30, 40 years. And him and my grandma were tied at the hip. She was ride or die with him. But he always had, and she was loyal to him to a fault because he would take on some really stupid stuff. Like he would do, um, he would do deals and get backstabbed by partners. And this wasn't necessarily his fault. My grandpa was just very trusting, as am I. And but he would just make deals sometimes that my grandmother considered foolish, but she would still like run with him the whole time, which I adored. And he would buy like plots of land that were useless, like yeah, different things like that. But then he also made some absolutely incredible business deals. Like he would buy business parks and commercial facilities, and he was into real estate quite a bit. And he was part of the. He was a motivational speaker for the Rotary Club, and just crushed at that. And so while he made some really bad business decisions, which I've done too, I really relate to him quite a bit because he hit some home runs with the real estate market that just set him up really well, and also set up the grandchildren really well because he ended up passing that on through his will. My grandfather was always very entrepreneurial, even though he worked for the man for his entire life. He always had this side business, side business, like a full fledged like commercial enterprise on the side, and managed that very well through that entire time. So I saw that all growing up, and I always had this itch in the back of my head, where I thought, hey, I'd love to be able to do this on my own someday. And so when I was working my 9 to 5 in financial services, I I was always doing something on the side. I was reselling electronics. I was trying to get I was into D&D for a while, Dungeons and Dragons, so I was trying to create dice sets and dice trays. I flipped what else did I flip? I would do like buy and sell stuff through Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. And most of those were losing enterprises. I either lost money or broke even. I never really made anything of it because I was never really truly passionate about any of it. I mean, it was just a way to make some extra money on the side. I would DJ, I would do like dance classes and things like that, which I did enjoy that. But it's not something I wanted to do, and it wasn't scalable long term. So about the time the pandemic rolled around, I was working out with a buddy of mine, and I just asked him, "Hey, do you think?" I was really into fitness and really passionate. Started listening to tons of podcasts around it, particularly in powerlifting. I've been doing CrossFit for a while, but I wanted to get into powerlifting and started getting into powerlifting pretty heavily. And so I asked my buddy, "Hey, what do you think? I mean, do you think I would be good at something in the business world related to fitness?" He goes, "Yeah, I mean, why don't you sell equipment?" I was like, "That actually sounds like a good idea." So that's when I started flipping the stuff, found there was a market, and that it was all because there was this itch in the back of my brain saying you can do this and you have some sort of capability. But it was also because I'd just been invested so much for so long in the side hustle, which is how most of these entrepreneurs get started. But it was mainly my grandfather kind of in the back of my head, just always, I just always remember that as the example. My family, like my immediate family, always had very steady 9 to 5 jobs, and not really as much entrepreneurial as my grandfather. But my grandfather was definitely the catalyst to like get this business going, even though he's passed away.
So, if you could meet one CEO or one business owner out there that you admire, their whole structure and what they do, just to spend some time to see how they roll, who would that be?
Oh gosh, it'd probably be somebody who's breaking through and doing things very differently. I really admire the style that Elon Musk has, taking Twitter down 80% of employees to get efficient. Um, Basically demanding that his team perform to a level of excellence that he's set, not the team has set. I think what happened with Twitter was an abomination, and when he came in, I think what he did was just not miraculous, but it was sorely needed. And I kind of run the business the same way. Not in I'm not as demanding of my employees, and I have a different corporate culture than Elon's built over there at Tesla and X. But I would love to talk with him about um, the things that he does and the ways in which he pushes the team forward, because he's done some really innovative stuff in the space that nobody's been able to replicate. I mean, Tesla is really unique, not only in terms of their marketing strategy, but also just in terms of what they built. And he's revitalized the Twitter platform essentially. So I admire that. Steve Jobs was very similar in terms of how he approached things. Now he was very hard on his employees. I'm not. That's not my speed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Elon would probably be somebody I'd be interested in talking to just about a business strategy from a business strategy standpoint. Like, how can you get and motivate internal employees to perform to a degree of excellence that's unmatched in most other organizations?
So you've gone from a backyard idea to a nationwide thriving business right now. What is that motivation every day for you to maintain, to do better, to take care of your people? What is that motivation every day to wake up?
So Alex Ramosi, who started this company called Gym Launch, and Juju Mufu, who is an acrobatics and bodybuilding mastermind behind his YouTube platform, really said it best. They view business as a game. So I wake up every day, and it's almost like playing. To me, it's almost like playing a computer game simulation. And this is going to sound really weird to some people who are not entrepreneurs, but if you talk to most high-powered performers in the space that have been successful all their lives, they're going to talk to you as if their business is a game, not a game with people's lives, but a game to them in terms of how much fun it is on a daily basis and the things that they can do to control that trajectory. So the thing that gets me up every day is I think it's fun and I get to control the different aspects of the business that propel it forward and then and by extension make money doing it. So it's almost like I'm playing a simulation where it's like, oh, take this piece, this asset, and do certain things with it, and move things around to reorganize and get more efficient, and make partnerships and business and develop business so that we can grow and expand this thing that we're building. It's a game. It's fun, and I really enjoy the process because the more people I get to talk to and the more that I see this little empire grow, the more rewarding it is for me because I am directly impacting the growth of the bit and the trajectory of the business. Before, the thing that I found grinding, and a lot of people don't think this way, but a lot what I found grinding about the 9 to 5 was I had zero impact. In fact, I had in some cases a negative impact on the business because of how many problems there were at my level. I used to be in technology, and we were just putting band-aids on massive bleeding wounds that we could never solve. With this, if there's a massive bleeding wound, we can triage that almost immediately, and we move at the speed of business, which is very, very, very quick. And I've done that on purpose to make sure that we're staying on top of market trends and doing right by our customers. If our customers don't see Amazon like speed, they're not going to do business with us. So um, I see it as a game, as almost as a simulation of sorts that just keeps me going. And I don't. There's really no. When I heard that from Alex and Judy, I was like, that is it. I mean, that is exactly what I feel like when I'm running this business every day. And at the point at which it stops being that to me, I'll either hand it off to my kids or shut the business down. But it's been so much fun.
So in the beginning, what was the moment or the client or that period of business where you were like, you either saw a sparkle in a client's eye, something good happened where you're like, this makes sense. This is my path in life.
So I don't know that it was any one moment. It was just a series of interactions that I've had with people and me realizing that the consultative approach that I've taken to the business, which is we actually are in business to help other people achieve their health and fitness goals, and just doing that over and over again with people that walk in, people that talk to me. Like, I love this space. And that was the thing that really turned the light bulb on in my head is the more I sold and the more I interacted with people, the more I realized how much I love this stuff. Like when I'm helping a family who's trying to get their son into D1 football, build a gym that's going to help them perform better. that gets my juices flowing more than just making the sale.
Yeah.
I could care less about the equipment side of things as long as I'm helping you accomplish your goals. We have this exact same philosophy with fire police and EMS. We have a huge program with those guys where we're trying to reduce the rates of cardiac arrest, cancer, and injury at the station level. And I care deeply about that because I've got that in my family history. And that thing gets me going more than just sticking a bunch of equipment that's going to make me a bunch of money in the station. Like I deeply care about that stuff. And that to me is so much more rewarding than like I said, just the sales process itself, even though it is part of the process. So that it was just a series of interactions with people, building different programs for people, building different gym environments for people, putting packages together for people that actually help them. I got a guy that was like, "Yeah, because of your equipment, I lost 20 pounds." Like that to me is so much more fun. I put that testimonial up on the website at one point, just because I thought it was awesome. Like that to me is so much more rewarding than just the sale. So I think it was a series of interactions that I had with people that made me realize like this is it, and confirm my desire to be in the business long term. Before, when I was doing all those side hustle things, it was fine, it was fun, but it wasn't. There was no impetus, there was no driver, there was no passion behind it. There were no anecdotal stories like that where I could go back and say, I'm actually making a difference in people's lives. Like this stuff actually, it's more than just selling a car. It's actually selling it's offering people a lifestyle to make their lives better.
So when you look at the timeline of your life, business and personal, what are you the proudest of?
Oh man. So on a personal note, um, I'm proud of my family and being able to raise godly kids. I'm a Christian, so raising my family to love the Lord. And I have a wonderful wife and a wonderful spouse that keeps the home together while I'm concentrating on the business. I'm so proud of her and of um, and of my kids that are growing up to be godly kids. On the business side, I am proud of our entire team and the team that we've built here because I could not be doing this podcast right now if the team wasn't operating at a very, very high level. And that really has nothing to do on both of those counts. It has nothing to do with me. It's all praise and glory to God. Um, I, I, in a way, got lucky, but it's also just providential how much of this came together. Different things like finding warehouses at the right time, finding good deals at the right time, being able to find people that have called me that we've had long-term business relationships with that just found us miraculously out of the blue.
Yeah.
Um, I'm so proud the team that we've got here because they're building a culture and we're building a culture that is based on trust and dependability and honesty and a lot of I don't know if you know much about just the fitness business, but there's a lot of sleazeballs that it's funny because it's a very small world, but there's a lot of sleazeballs in this industry, and we've come up against them. We lost a ton of money when we first started out on a very bad deal that went sideways. We lost about half the equipment, and it
Wow.
was from a guy that was just trying to scam us. But and I had a panic attack about it, and it worked out, but um, again, that was just me working on my own,
Yeah.
and it was awful. So
Yeah.
we built a team here that has been absolutely unbelievable, but it's built on that cultural foundation that I'm super proud of. Like the team gets it. Like every time I talk to them about different situations with clients, it's like, were we being honest? Were we being trustworthy with them? And the answer is always yes. Hey, we were telling them about dings, dents, scratches, things that have happened. I'm probably honestly the most proud of my team and how incredible they are. They're trustworthy to a fault, and I would put them in any environment, any person's home or commercial facility, and 100% trust them. It's just the kind of culture we're building here. We don't hire slobs. We don't allow people to lie or to act in a way that is not doing unto others what we would want them to do to us. And I just yeah, I'm so thankful for that.
So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, all of your employees, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Gosh. So I view myself as I've been told this by others, but I'm a pretty genuine, just down to earth kind of person. I'm straight to the point, no kind of BS, and that comes across in the client interactions that we have, people coming to the warehouse, consultations I do. But I'm trying to put myself in the client's shoes in every situation, and to my own detriment in some cases. Like I'll downsell them on certain things I don't think are going to be helpful. But yeah, the the things that I am as an entrepreneur, I've tried to bake into the business. The trust, dependability, honesty. I feel like those are core characteristics of who I am as a person, and I've baked those into our corporate values. So that's who I am, and that's what I want my team to be. And so and the one thing I've learned, if nothing else, is like if I'm not the example, nobody is. So I can't tell somebody to do something if I'm not doing it myself.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I see has made us successful over and above even competition who wouldn't necessarily act in that way. There's good and bad,
Yeah.
companies out there, but it's definitely not.
So if anyone wants to reach out, learn more about what you're doing, buy equipment, any of the good business, where can they go?
Yeah, freedomfitnessequipment.com. And then if you want to look at our funky social media platform and all the content we're putting out, it'd be Freedom Fitness Equipment or at Freedom Fitness Equipment, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, any of those platforms. You can find us there.
Excellent. Ashton, what a triumphant story. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
sir.
Keep doing the great work, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.